What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering with some breaking news. I tried to wait as long as I could. I suspect there'll be another video later today when we get more information. There was supposed to be a press conference happening a half hour ago. That's been delayed. I'm not surprised. This morning, I have been thrown back into what happened in Nashville just not that long ago. Apparently, we have somebody, an absolute loser, absolute piece of garbage human being, went and targeted a church where they were having exclusively students in their morning mass. A Catholic church with about 300 or so students attending morning mass. This was something that was known to the public and was certainly a part of that targeting. There's currently 20 casualties with several youths that will not be going home today. The incident has been reported as a man, we don't really know what that means these days, dressed in black, unleashing as many as 100 rounds into that church where these kids were having their morning mass. This mass, apparently, from what I understand, is exclusively for the students and teachers, a part of that school. And this absolute piece of garbage ended when he took the coward's way out. It's also being reported that Minneapolis PD was delayed in their response because they were busy dealing with other crime, and many are calling it a byproduct of defund the police. I think it's too early to get too political about this, but here's what we know. We know that this was a Catholic school targeting. They happened to be at church, which is where this person went. At least two of those kids will not be going home today. The individual, dressed in all black, reportedly armed with the big scary, peppered rounds through the stained glass windows at Annunciation Catholic Church Wednesday morning. At least 16 in this report were injured. The heartbroken parents who attend the mass told the Star Tribune he fired 50 to 100 times as students and staffs were sat in pews, and at least two kids did not survive. This is terrible, the parent added. This is evil. I don't know how you defend against this. Well, I don't really think anybody does, to be honest. The individual is said to have taken the coward's way out. The city of Minneapolis confirmed that he had been, quote, contained, and that there was no longer any active threat to the community. The pictures, absolutely heartbreaking coming out of this. Absolutely heartbreaking. He stormed Annunciation Church on 54th Street around 8 a.m., just after church started. Students at the Annunciation Catholic School, where classes just started on Monday, so 2 days ago, were in mass at the time. Clearly, the individual knew this. Hennepin Healthcare, which has Minnesota's largest emergency department, said it was also caring for patients. Dozens of kids were evacuated from the church, with one nearby resident claiming many were crying and covered in blood as they were shuffled out. Bill Beineman, who lives a couple of blocks away, said, I was shocked. I thought there would be no way that was weapons. I thought somebody was working, on their roof. Children were escorted out. Donald Trump has spoken, has said he's been aware of it. We don't have any information as of right now on the suspect. What we know, fire crews bringing in more rescues, FBI's on the scene. There's no identification as of right now. It's literally been 2 hours. I'm not exactly ready to say, they're withholding it. I mean, they're still treating people. There may still be, at the time of this recording, there may still be people on the scene. that are receiving treatment. You know, there's been no eyewitness reports other than it was a man in black. We don't even necessarily know that it was a man. You know, that was just what has been reported. Many people pointing to yesterday, there was another incident in the parking lot of another Catholic high school yesterday, where one person didn't go home and 5 went to the hospital. Are they related? Well, police say that the one that happened yesterday was a targeted incident. So we don't really know. This is, I mean, again, you could tell I'm kind of struggling for words here. We are at war in this country. We have to stop having soft targets. We just have to. You know, we just have to. It's just, I'm not going to entertain it's the weapons. We just have to arm. We have to not have any soft targets. You know, I don't know what causes somebody to do this. I don't know, if this person left. We don't know anything about a manifesto. We don't know anything about what they left in their vehicle. We don't know anything about who they were, what they were, We're going to know later today, unless, of course, it's an LGBTQ person or a Somali, then it'll probably take days before we find out. These are the official updates. The Minneapolis government. So if we go here, this is live, the absolute latest, said that, they've been the individual has been contained. The school is evacuated. Trump saying, I'm praying for our kids and the teachers. First week of school was marred by such a horrific act, said Governor Tim, defund the police walls. President Donald Trump said that he'd been briefed on the tragic incident and that the White House would continue to monitor it. He said, it breaks my heart. It's sick to my stomach. Now, this was 21 minutes ago. Law enforcement officers gather outside the school. I had been waiting as long as I could for this official press conference. I don't know that they would name anybody at it, but here we go.
Against innocent children and other people worshiping. The sheer cruelty and cowardice of firing into a church full of children is absolutely incomprehensible.
Perfect timing here.
Police officers from the Minneapolis Police Department immediately responded, entered the church, and attempted to provide first aid and rescue some of the children that were hiding throughout the building, while other first responders came and EMS responded to rush victims to nearby hospitals. 2 young children, ages 8 and 10, were killed where they sat in the pews.
8 and a 10-year-old.
Their parents have been notified.
Jesus.
17 other people were injured, 14 of them being children. 2 of those children are in critical condition. The coward who fired these shots ultimately took his own life in the rear of the church.
So he did enter the church,
Our hearts are broken for the families who have lost their children, for these young lives that are now fighting to recover, and for our entire community that has been so deeply traumatized by this senseless attack. We will stand together to protect our children, our schools, and our houses of worship.
I hope so.
This deliberate act of violence is just a sign of cruelty that is beyond comprehension.
He's reading what looks to be a prepared statement, but that's fine.
Our hearts are broken for everyone that's been affected by this
Let's see if he
tragedy.
answers any questions.
As we begin the difficult path of healing, I want the community to know this, that even in the face of such evil, the Minneapolis Police Department and all of our law enforcement partners stand with our community. We stand with these families and with this parish.
Okay.
We will continue to be here for you. With that, the investigation is obviously in its preliminary
They're
stages.
not going to take any questions
and
here.
I will attempt to take some questions
okay.
to provide further information.
Here we go.
What can you tell us about the suspect in this case? How old was he? Any kind of motivation? Any
Nothing. He's going to say nothing.
So we were looking, the question was, what can be said about the shooter? We believe it is one suspect, a sole shooter. We believe he is deceased. He is in his early 20s, does not have an extensive
Early
known
20s.
criminal history.
So they know who he is.
And we are looking through information left behind to try and determine some type of
So
motive.
they have his identity.
How many kids at the school?
How many children? There were. I don't have an exact. The question was how many children at the school. There
So
were
the
dozens
the
of
police have his
children
identity,
inside
but
the mass at the
have not
time.
given it out.
I don't have an exact count. The children have been relocated into the school,
Now,
which is where their families
I understand,
are reunified with them.
Other than the weapons, was the shooter a student, former student? Was he a former employee? Do we know that?
The question was, do we know if the shooter was a former school employee or a former student? We don't have that information.
okay.
Anything behind other than the weapons?
There's a vehicle. The question was anything left behind? There's a vehicle that we believe that the suspect used that is being searched.
Okay.
And we will be conducting other searches related to this.
Some neighbors who said that the door to the church had been barricaded.
Yep.
Is that correct?
So the question was, neighbors had said that the door to the church had been barricaded.
It was, I think. Yeah.
The shooter approached on one side of the church building, and on that side, at least two doors, it appears there had been like a 2x4 placed. So not all of the doors around the building, but on the side where the shooter did fire.
And on the outside.
On the outside, yes.
These shootings related. Were there any explosives that were found?
The question was there any explosives? There were reports of that. There were no explosives or improvised devices that we found. I do
Okay.
believe there was one, I guess you would call it a smoke bomb, like not an explosive, but a sort of a firework that would release smoke.
And which side of the building? North, south?
The side that is closest to us, here, on this side, yep.
Incident related? So at these nearby homes.
I don't have specific information on that I can release.
Gunshot wound, this suspect?
Yeah, the question was, is he dead from a gunshot wound? The answer is yes. We believe he took his own life in the parking lot.
Was this outside or both inside?
He said parking lot.
The question was he shooting outside and inside? He was absolutely shooting outside of the building on the side of the church, inside through the windows. It appears he may have gone inside, but I don't believe we've located any casings inside the building. So I'm not certain if he fired also while inside. It appears, if not all, most of the shooting happened outside the building.
Shooting related to any other shootings that happened in the last 24 hours?
Yeah, Taylor's asking, is this related to any of the other shootings? This
It
does not
seems
appear to be
unlikely.
related to any other shooting in the city.
You know approximately how many rounds were fired?
The question was how many rounds? I would say it's in the dozens. We don't have an exact count. There's a sidewalk on the outside as well as a grassy area. So obviously we are going through and taking our time to process the scene.
Was he firing just one weapon, like the rifle, or?
The question was he firing one weapon?
He's
We
answering more
believe he
questions
had
than I
fired
thought.
All three. He had a rifle,
Oh.
a shotgun, and a pistol.
He had 3 weapons.
Were the weapons, was he lawfully carrying the weapons? I don't have that information.
Yeah.
And I don't have any information on any significant criminal history either.
Was he dressed at all in any tactical type of gear or anything?
It appeared he had some black clothing on, his cargo type pants. I guess you could interpret that as, however you like.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for helping us to get the information out today.
Well, that's about it. So they know who he is because they said he didn't have a criminal history, but they haven't said now. It could be that, they're still investigating the guy's house. So, we'll see how long the refusing to release it goes on. That's all we know right now. And, make sure you subscribe or follow. As soon as we get an identity, a motive, a manifesto, I will report on that as well. I hope you're informed by this video. If you were, please subscribe and follow so that you get all the latest updates, and we'll talk to you again real soon.